Today's recipe calls for lemons. I'm going to show you how to make the best lemon curd. This stuff is perfect for so many different things and it's easy to make as well. So with that said, let's get started.
The first thing we're going to do is grab a medium-sized mixing bowl. After you grab your bowl, you're going to add 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar. The next thing we're going to add to our bowl is zest from 3 medium-sized lemons. You want to do your best to not get any of the white part, which is known as the pith to our citrus fruit. You want to avoid this because it's bitter in taste. You can use any type of zester of your choice. I like the microplane because it's easy, and using the microplane this way gives you the best results. This way you can look and have that best view of your lemon, kind of that bird's eye view, to ensure that you're not going to get any of that pith. Now that you've zested all of your lemons, you're going to grab them and roll them on your work surface like so. This will help break the membrane up inside of the lemon, making it easier to juice, and it'll give us the highest yield possible. We've used this method many of times on this channel. After you have them rolled out, you're going to cut them and juice them, of course. Now that you've made your lemons cry, you're going to grab a small mesh strainer and a holding apparatus, and you're going to strain your lemon juice. This way we can catch all the pulp and the seeds. Then you're going to grab a spoon, or you can also use your little fingy and move the pulp around that's stuck in our mesh strainer. This way we can get as much juice as possible to make our curd. Now that you have your lemon juice strained and drained, you're going to grab 6 large room temperature eggs and 2 separate holding apparatuses, and we're going to start to separate the egg yolks from our whites. There's 2 different methods to doing this. I think this is the best method, by passing the egg back and forth in between your hands. This will allow the egg whites to run through your little fingies so that all that's left in your hand is the egg yolk. I find that one to be the best because I have the most control of separating the two, but it does make a mess. Or you can also use the eggshell to separate the egg yolks from the whites. The word on the street is the eggshell holds the most bacteria. I don't know how true that is, but you can use whatever method you decide. And if you get a little bit of egg white with your egg yolk, it's not a big deal. And you can save your egg whites, make an egg white omelet, just so you feel somewhat healthy after making this, or you can save it to use for a different recipe. If you accidentally break one of your egg yolks, we can still use it, so don't worry. Now that you have everything separated, ensure that you give your ball catchers a good clean. Then we're going to jump back to our bowl. You're going to lightly whisk your face off to bring the lemon zest and sugar together. Well, sort of, kinda, not really, but whisking the granulated sugar with the lemon zest will help slightly pulverize it because our sugar is so coarse and rough in texture. It'll slightly beat up our lemon zest, which in turn will allow the zest to release some of the natural oils and lemon flavor that it holds. You're going to whisk these 2 things together for about a minute or 2, or until it becomes nice and fragrant in that lemony smell. Now that your sugar is nice and well mixed and has that lemon scent, you're going to add all of your egg yolks to your bowl. You're going to really start to whisk your face off to cream the egg yolk and sugar together. You can use a hand mixer or even a stand mixer for this if you choose. You're really going to whisk your face off until some of the sugar starts to dissolve into your egg yolks. It's not going to fully dissolve, but you really want to whisk it. Our egg yolks are going to start to break down and become more liquidy, which in turn will help dissolve that sugar into them. And then change the camera angle so you can get like a 45 to 60 second break from whisking because you're really tired. Then get back to really whisking your face off. You can tell that our egg yolks have started to break down. Now the eggs, yolks, and sugar are starting to become more liquidy instead of chunky and gross looking. The next thing we're going to do is add half a cup or 100 mils of our fresh lemon juice. It's best to use fresh lemon juice for this. You're going to get the best results and the most intensified lemon flavor to our curd. I added a small splash or about half of our lemon juice to our bowl and then whisk that in. And then once I whisk that in, I add the rest of our lemon juice. This is the best method so I didn't make a huge mess by adding a liquid to a stiff mixture. Once you have all of your lemon juice added to your bowl, you're going to really whisk everything together until you get a nice, smooth, light viscosity of a batter. Now that you've mixed everything together to become one united mixture, you're going to grab a medium-sized saucepan with a heavy bottom. You're going to add all of your contents from your bowl to your pan so we can throw it on our heat. Now that you have everything in your pan, you're going to throw it over low to low medium heat, and it's really important to watch this all the way through and constantly stir stir your mixture. This way nothing burns and creates a weird tasting scrambled egg. You can use a whisk or a rubber spatula for this. I find it best to use a rubber spatula. This way you can scrape down the sides of your pan and the bottom really well as well. And the rubber spatula will be able to get into that little crease or edge where the bottom of the pan meets the side of the pan. And you're gonna cook your lemon curd until it becomes nice and thick in texture. There's not a certain time or temperature that we need to hit. We want it just to be nice and thick in viscosity. And a little pro tip for you as well, if your lemon curd is starting to get too hot and it's starting to slightly scorch on the bottom and the sides, you can easily take your pan off of the heat source and stir it and mix it off of the heat. It'll carry over cook when doing this, but it'll also slightly cool it down, and then you can add it back to your heat source and keep doing this if needed. Now that you can tell our lemon curd has become nice and thick in viscosity and it's become the perfect texture that we needed, we're going to take it off the heat and set it aside. If you're not sure if your lemon curd is thick enough or not, you can grab a spoon and dip the backside of it in your curd, then part the lemon curd C, and if everything holds stiff and in shape and doesn't come back together, then you know it's the perfect consistency. Now that our lemon curd is done cooking, we're going to add 8 tablespoons or 113 grams of cold unsalted butter to our lemon curd. You're going to cut your butter into little cubes. This way it's easier to whisk into the curd. Adding cold butter to the lemon curd will help cool it down a lot faster, and the butter is going to give our lemon curd a ton of richness and fat and flavor. It'll also give us that nice shiny little sheen as well. And when you first add your butter to your lemon curd, it's going to look broken and separated, and the butter is going to be on top of your lemon curd. It's really important to really whisk your face off, incorporate everything together. Keep whisking until all of your butter has been added to your pan and everything is nice and well mixed together. Now that you've added all your butter to your pan, you're going to grab a bowl and a fine mesh strainer. We're going to strain our lemon curd. You can totally skip this step, but straining it will catch all of the lemon zest that we added early on to our recipe, which in turn will give us this nice, smooth, velvety texture for the best mouthfeel. And you're going to use your whisk and you're going to whisk your curd inside of your mesh strainer. This way it'll push through the curd, but will keep all that zest behind. And a little pro tip, there's going to be a ton of lemon curd stuck on the bottom of your mesh strainer, so you want to grab a fresh new spatula to scrape off all of that lemon curd. And it's important to use a fresh new rubber spatula. This way you're not using the old one that could potentially have the zest on it. And yes, it is a bit more dishes, but that's okay, just make somebody else do them. Now that you have your lemon curd strained, you're gonna grab some saran wrap and cut yourself a pretty large piece, and you're gonna adhere the saran wrap to the lemon curd. This way when we go to throw it in the fridge to let it completely cool down, it's not gonna form a crusty little skin on the top, ruining our smooth texture. Once your lemon curd has completely cooled down, you're gonna grab your favorite holding apparatus. I'm using a mason jar just because it's nice and aesthetically pleasing, but you can use whatever you have. And you'll notice that our lemon curd has become nice and thick in texture, but still it's nice and spreadable as well. As it cools down, it'll thicken up on you, which is totally fine. That's what we want. And I find it best to get lemon curd on one side of my spatula and let it slowly fall into the jar instead of trying to use my rubber spatula as one giant spoon. It's just easier because the mouth hole on the jar is a bit small. Once you're getting to the top of your holding apparatus, you're going to start to slightly run out of room like I am. All you need to do is lightly tap your holding apparatus on your work surface. This way it'll knock out all the air bubbles that are inside. This way we can fit more into our jar. Now that our lemon curd is done, you can grab a spoon and eat it out of the jar just like this, or you can use it for other great recipes. Whatever you decide to do, just enjoy.
Alright, now that our lemon curd is done, let's give it the old taste-a-roo. So looking at it, it came out nice and yeller looking. It's nice and creamy and thick. And then that butter adds that little sheen and adds some creaminess to it as well. It smells super lemony and it looks super tasty. So yeah, let's try it. Our lemon curd came out super tasty. It's nice and delicious and just well balanced overall. At first it's a little bit sweet, but then that lemon comes through really well and adds a ton of flavor and just brings a ton of brightness and freshness to the table. And of course that lemon flavor, because it's lemon curd, duh. But the lemon on it is just perfect as well. It's not too tart and it's not too much. And then it's nice and sweet, and then it's rich and fatty from all that butter and egg yolk we added. Then the lemon brings the freshness, like I said, and brings the acid to the table to help cut through all that rich and fatty flavors and the sweetness as well. Then the texture on it came out perfect. It's nice and creamy and velvety and smooth. It's just a perfect mouthful. Overall, this stuff is just super good. Alright, that's it for today's video. This recipe is really simple and there's not a whole lot to it. Once you master how to make lemon curd, you can use this for whatever your little sour heart desires. Maybe make some fruit tarts with it, or some crepes, or make blueberry pancakes and then smear it with some lemon curd, which sounds super tasty. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. And I'm trying to figure out the thumbnail for this video. Maybe I should make some lemon sour faces, like, or I think like the second one was the best one. Anyways, we'll see you on the next one. Our lemon card. This lemon curd, I keep wanting to say turd. Lemon, fatty from all of our yolks to the table. You're bad at this.